Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on what time zone you're in or what time you're watching this video. Glad you could join us. We're back today with something probably a little bit different for most of us, at least for this channel. We're watching something from a band called Falling in Reverse, which a good friend of mine named Dylan sent me. It is a Last Resort reimagined. If you don't know what Last Resort is, it's a song by Papa Roach. This is my last resort. That one. If you haven't heard it, I'll put a link in the description as well. Very good song. Very energetic, I think is the best way to put it. A lot of meaning packed into it. So I think that song has been around for long enough that I don't really think I'm going to do a lyrical analysis in this video, but I will do a reaction. So hopefully you enjoy that. Without further ado, hope you're all doing awesome. Love you all. Let's get into it. All right. I like that the world is all gray and dark and it was upside down, the camera angle at the start. It says a lot.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding.
Oh,
This is my last resort. Cut my
whoa! This is like a completely different song. What is this? Is becoming a thing here that we just re-experience songs all the time, I guess. For those of you that don't know, the song, like the original Last Resort, is very like aggressive, like da na 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 da na na na. Actually, let's play a clip real quick. I don't know if this will get me banned or like copyright, but let's find out.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. This is my last resort.
And all that to say is that this is a very different representation. For one, that's almost like an angry, like going out with guns blazing version, like the original Last Resort. This is almost like I'm tired. Everything is just hard. There's nothing left for me here. Kind of like a giving up version of Last Resort. Very two different experiences. And now I can see why it's called Reimagined, because it's literally reimagining almost even the scenario that's led up to this position, because in the other one you're going out heated and this one you're going out kind of cold, right? Lots of gray tones, right? A gray tones of an empty city where the buildings are still there, but there's nothing left of people, and that's almost like a metaphor for like how you're feeling. Like there should be a lot of emotions and happinesses, but it feels like everything's empty and dark and gray and gloomy, even though you spent so much time building up the world, right? And then that's what it feels like when you're kind of in this moment of your life, where again, hopefully none of us feel that like this is never the option. So please never do this, because there's always good to come. But like just tonally and kind of aesthetically, very cool presentation of a completely different vibe. And even in the video that we just saw, that's like people rocking out to this song. Here we've just got, he's playing the piano on his own. He doesn't, there's not anyone really backing him up here. We saw people playing like strings, and even they were dressed in entirely gray, almost looking like wraiths or spirits, like the reapers themselves, which is like a very interesting, it's almost like the music that's inviting you to your death, right? This is a very cool switch up on what we've seen before. I want to go back just to see those people playing the strings again. I don't know whereabouts that was. We'll go here.
This is my last resort.
Even that. And that's good that we came here, because if you listen to the progression of that, it's different from the progression in the original song. Because the last couple notes are switched up. It almost sounds here like it's a sadness to it, and a release to it at the end of the progression, as opposed to that hard hitting dun dun dun, Like if we go back, if you were to go back and listen, you can hear the difference, and it really gives you a completely different understanding of the message being delivered in this song, and that's super cool.
Cut my life into pieces. Erase my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding. Do you even care if I die bleeding? Would it be wrong or it be right if I took my life tonight? Chances are that I might. Mutilation out of sight, and I'm contemplating suicide. I'm contemplating suicide. 'Cause I'm losing my.
Yo, his voice is enchanting. Like, I love it. And I think it's almost meant to sound like sireny, where it's like this voice calling out into the night that draws people in, because it's almost like that's what's happening to him in his experience, that's drawing him closer to this moment that will take it all away. Right. And we were kind of just talking about how the people in the strings are almost like death incarnate, and they start to get louder there. The strings started to kind of take over for a moment in terms of the musical arrangement, and it's almost to represent that now that thought is starting to be more pervasive and start to spread to more parts of the mind. Yo, oh my god. And the world is like crumbling as we watch all around him. Just fantastic. I like such a cool reimagination.
Side, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. Losing my side, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me
Wow.
I'm fine. I am fine. I never realized I was.
Yo, that fine almost sounded like Ronnie was like begging for someone to just say it. In the other one, it's like you don't feel the same kind of pleadingness with the world around you, I guess. In this one, you feel this like it really does feel like this is your last resort, the calling out to someone to feel anything, to feel connected, and for someone to tell you that you're fine. It hits just so different in a more emotionally connected way, I feel, than the original, and because they're both meant for very different experiences, and I think they both do really well in their own elements. And this one really starts tugging at the heartstrings. Holy smokes!
Spread too thin. I never realized I was spread too thin till it was too late and I was empty within, feeding on chaos and living in sin. Downward spiral, where do I begin? It all started when I lost.
Downward spiral, where do I begin? And the voice drops low to follow down that downward spiral. But it's like, yeah, when you're spread too thin, you try to do everything for everyone, excluding yourself, and then you find yourself running on empty with for fumes for yourself. And when you look around, you're looking for support, but sometimes it's not there, and sometimes we're too proud to ask for it. But then I love that way he says it's on this like cycle of a downward spiral, right? And it just goes in and on itself over and over, making it worse. And then we get that downward spiral. Where do I begin? As the voice drops low, following Ronnie's kind of imagery. Just so good. Holy. And now the world is beginning to crumble all around us because it's that point where, yeah, we've decided maybe there isn't enough to keep us standing.
Downward spiral, where do I begin? It all started when I lost my mother. No love for myself and no love for another. To find a lover on a higher level, finding nothing but questions and devils. 'Cause I'm losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me I'm fine. Losing my sight, losing my mind. Wish somebody would tell me
What in the what? Hang on a second. Okay, okay. I kind of got lost in just everything that was going. There was just so much, and we're gonna revisit it. But just a couple of the big kind of notes. One, Ronnie's emotion change there. Like it went from that, please save me, I'm losing myself, losing my mind. Someone else, please tell me I'm fine, right? Like it's reaching out to others and saying I need help, but then also that sincerity of kind of sadness that you can hear in his voice, and this is literally his last resort, right? And then it goes into this like strong upheaval of just emotion and almost like it's almost like his rebuttal to the lack of anyone coming to his aid, or his rebuttal against him feeling like he needs that, right? It's him saying no, I don't need that, and we feel that kind of surge of raw energy and power in his voice in the second part of that, almost like the second coming of the song, where there's this, everything starts kind of rebuilding itself, right? And that's to represent that we don't reach for that last resort. In fact, what we do instead is we reach further and we rebuild, right? We make things healed, we make things stronger than they were before. And something that was super cool there too is the individuals kind of playing the strings, they're crying, they're tearing up, right? Meaning that even they are not happy about the way the situation is going right now. They don't want to see this place fall apart either, right? It almost reminds you of the last people playing on the Titanic, right? Where they're like, well, this is our last song, everyone let's go down with the ship, right? That's what they're doing. They're beckoning that ending, but also they don't want to see it happen, but because it is happening, they have to be there. And that's kind of that experience that we're getting, where it's like the Grim Reaper's part in this. Even death doesn't want you to go. Even death doesn't think it's your time. But if you beckon to death, death will listen. And so that's why now it's playing back. But then Ronnie comes in with that surge, and it's just so awesome. And then we actually pan out really far, where we see the whole kind of world was ending, right? And it's your world, it's your own self kind of falling apart. And I wonder if that's almost even kind of relation to the world itself as we see it currently, where things are falling apart, right? But it's like we need that surge, kind of like the whole Ren movement, in we need to change the way that things are, right? And that could be one meaning, or the other meaning could be it is ourselves, and where our world was falling apart internally, we didn't have the strength to keep it going. We find that surge of energy and push past that and help to kind of actually rebuild the world inside ourselves at the same time. Whoa. Just like, what a song. But I was lost in the way that his voice was just so, I don't know what it was. It drew me in. I kind of called him a siren earlier, and that feels almost entirely what that was, right? It's that song that leads you and that you can't seem to stop listening to. You want to know how it ends. And the ending is completely different from what I was kind of expecting from this whole thing. I am amazed. That was awesome. Let's revisit that ending really quick, but wow. I think it was about here.
It all started when I lost my mother. No love for myself and no love
And
for
there's like,
another.
the pain almost that you feel when he says that. It's like, no love for myself and no love for another. And it's like this internal scream that he's now letting out into the world for us to hear and feel. And maybe it is this kind of letting all of this out to us that is the reason that he saves himself, because he opens up and lets himself be vulnerable and revisit these moments that have made him feel weak, but he hasn't been addressing them. So they've kind of gone into the foundations. And now that we are kind of addressing them, we can get rid of that mold that started to grow in these places, right, that are hurt and injured. And that's kind of what we're doing. And as a result, now we get to rebuild that world. And maybe that's what it is, right? It's that release that lets us finally get back to being able to be ourselves. And that's a message in this song. God damn. But just the emotion of this line. Sorry, I just want to go back to that again.
It all started when I lost my mother. No love for myself and no love for another. To find
That swell, just all of it coming together. Oh my god, and as everything begins to kind of rise, the strings, the piano, just everything, his own voice, all of it kind of comes into this like this cacophony of beautiful sorrow that we're hearing right now, and it's him walking through it, watching the world collapse, kind of moving through his own space and tearing it all down just to build it back up. Holy. Even that's like a metaphor for just all the problems building and rising. Oh. Everything just crashing down around. This is like a movie. Holy smokes. Damn, Ronnie, that was insane. Just like the passion, the power, just the caliber of his voice there. He went in and he went hard. Like that was, he put his all into that ending there. And you can hear it kind of transition from like a broken, saddened, in need of help to a kind of like rose colored glasses gone, understanding that you need to kind of do this for yourself in some ways, and then also just finally having released all of the terrible things in life. And even when he says like cut my life into pieces the second time, it's not like a cut my life into pieces like tore my life apart. It's actually almost, it feels like to me, cut my life into pieces to reevaluate it in smaller parts. And that's why we now cut our life into pieces, was actually to go back and make things easier to digest. Oh my god, well, just so many layers to this song. It was fantastic. Ah, wow, awesome. Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna have to go back and revisit the other song. I also have another artist in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're probably gonna start doing some new stuff now that we have more time, and maybe it'll be a chance for us to explore each other's music a little more, and that could be awesome. I hope you guys like this song. It was fantastic for me. I think this is a great reimagining of the original, and just like completely different vibe. Fantastic all around. I hope that your week is better than your day, your month is better than your week, and your year is better than your month. And I will see you on the next one. Love you all. Take care.